that the adaptability, we go on about the qualities of the Royal Marines, because both of me and you, we're both Royal Marines at heart. But I'm telling you now, the adaptability side,
that's the SRR thing coming through.
That's an SRR quality, and it's such a if you ever serve in the SRR, the operators around you, that is one of the standout attributes of these operators. It's their adaptability. It's something you're in awe of.
So James, you'll have noticed over the past couple of weeks especially that you're gaining massive traction on social media, both on YouTube, TikTok, all over really. Have you noticed like an increase in comments from both the trolls and non-trolls as well?
Well, so the TikTok profile has now hit plus of 10k followers. So over the Christmas period, I kind of stepped away and I deactivated the account. I mean, this was because I was in a process of getting some new work and I wanted to focus on that. You know, I was finding my feet with that. But I then reinstated the social media platform TikTok when we started doing this venture here, the Beyond the Frontline podcast, just to promote it. Around that time, I think I was on somewhere around 9k followers. I built up quite a following through the fitness videos, the lives predominantly as well, mainly the lives. And I've actually taken a lot of guidance from you, haven't I, Ryan? You know, you've given me a lot of information, a lot of tips as to how to build that following up. And there's a logic behind all this, you know, building the following up. Why is a former UKSF guy bothered about a following on social media? Yeah, it can be a little bit baffling if you put it like that.
Yeah, so I think I've been on social media a little over 5 years now, and I made all the mistakes you could possibly think of. Hence a little bit of, I don't want to say guidance, but you know, when I first got in contact with you, you know, giving you a little few hints here and there and stuff like that about what engagement is and everything like that. Now, believe it or not, trolls fuel engagement. They are the greatest fuel of engagement I've found, especially if you make a mistake.
And do you know what, Ryan? I mean, you come from a bootneck background as well. The fantastic thing about trolls is that to a bootneck, I've said this before, we get trolled. If you're lucky and you make it through in 9 months, 32 weeks, we get trolled for 32 weeks. We are troll resilient, all right? You can't troll a bootneck. You can't troll a bootneck, all right? You can be if anyone watches this and they think, right, I'm going to prove them wrong, you are just go for it. Go for it.
You're looking at a real. I mean, let's call a knife a knife. You're looking at an exceptionally blunt, an exceptionally confident, driven human being. Resilient human being. I mean, we're talking about guys who we talk about fitness way too much, about what do I need to do to get fit for the Marines. Forget about the fitness. If you haven't got the robustness, the mental resilience, you can forget about being fit. You can be the fittest guy there. Resilience and robustness is the thing that separates all guys. The most robust make it through that course, you know. And comments on social media, it's like, I mean, that's a day off for us. That's a day off. That is a day off.
I actually, when I do my lives and I would get trolled on my lives, I would actually use the analogy. I'm like, keep going, because I feel like I'm back at CTC. This is only what Sergeant Quinn used to say to me sat on that balcony. You fucking mong, go and see the Padre. And I just used to feed off it. I used to feed off it, and I used to just do better and better and better in the next day. That's all you're doing for me, okay? You troll me, I won't do 25 pull-ups in one go. I'll do 27 pull-ups in one go, you know? You troll me, I won't do 50 press-ups in one go. I'll do 65 press-ups in one go.
You have just literally, if one of my best mates in the Corps, he's still in, if he was here now listening to what you've just said, he would have literally told you the exact story I'm about to tell you with regards to that. I don't think a lot of the other parts of the military have that mindset of, you want to thrash me with press ups, I'll do more.
Yeah.
We messed up, me and my oppo. I'm not going to mention what we did, but we effed up, and we had to push a Pinsgauer round camp. Sorry, round lines. So round HQ lines, which is just a building, would have took 10 minutes or so. So we looked at each other and we thought, nah, I'm pushing it round camp. You're not going to thrash me. We're going to thrash ourselves. So we started pushing it round camp, around Norton Manor, 40 Commander. You know, the Alpha Bravo Delta.
Yeah,
So that's when it was like, it was a Pinsgauer trailer. So we thrashed ourselves even more out of complete rebelliousness. So you've said something there where that is the mentality that separates us. So comments on YouTube, thank you very much. You really are helping us out.
Yeah, you know, so a lot of the comments I'm getting at the moment, I mean, I put a few posts out at the moment. I mean, they're hitting 65k, they're hitting 40k. I mean, they're hitting 65k in about 2 days. And I know by some influencers, I can't believe I'm using that word, influencer standards, that's nothing. But if you look at us, well, look at me, Ryan, I'm a middle-aged, you know, no longer needed soldier. Okay, I'm not an influencer. Okay, this is a foreign world to me, and I'll be straight with you, Ryan. The social media world scares the shit out of me. Okay, it's so unfamiliar. It's so against the grain.
I don't think people know that who've had social media all their life effectively. Bootnecks who joined the Corps right now, I think 16. So what's that? 2009 they were born.
I've lived an entire career. You think I'm a former SRR soldier, okay? I'm a former soldier of a regiment which is probably the most secretive regiment in the UK, if not the world, right?
If not the world, yeah.
Mate, it's so against my grain doing
When
this.
did you ever? When was your first social media profile?
It was actually a couple of months before you messaged me. So I've been on TikTok was my first social media profile.
So you went straight into the dragon, and straight into the lion's den. Then
Oh yeah. What I used to say, TikTok is the foundation, is the camp one of social media. You know, who wants to be here? Who wants to be here? Who can we mentally break? And who will be here at the end? That's TikTok.
So just to add clarity, when I first stumbled across your TikTok, looking at I can see it now. You looked fragged with what was happening on here. It's like I can see you were trying. It was like you were getting threaders with the comments. Your social awareness of what was going on TikTok was skewed. It was like, what the hell's happening here? And another thing, you didn't understand the gem that you had, because you were like talking to 400 people. And I remember watching this going, he doesn't even understand how much of an audience he's got either.
Do you know what? I mean, I now understand that a room of 400 people on TikTok is the equivalent of like having a stadium in real life, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, of course it is.
If I then began to realise if I flick to the next, if I was on my live page and I flick between the lives and there's a girl sat there with her rack half hanging out, some pretty young girl, and she's got a room of about 20 people, and then there's Muggins here who's got a room of 400, like
responding to the comments. What are you on about? Four finger pointing people and stuff. But it's like, it's strange how things develop, and like I think we were talking about the mindset of. I guess the why is the question.
The why, yeah. I've got a lot of comments, Ryan, where they're saying, why are you rising to these trolls? You don't need to explain yourself, okay? And listen, I just wanted to say, okay, I'm not rising to the trolls. I guess technically, literally, I am, okay? I am, right? However, if I put up a response to a comment that I explain what I think the definition of SF is and why the SRR are a Special Forces regiment, and I get comments back from people saying, why are you rising to it? You don't need to. Why are you entertaining this? Okay, so look, some of the comments as well saying, well, if you was a proper SF soldier, you wouldn't be on here, you wouldn't be talking about it. Now, look, I'm no longer in the SRR, okay? I'm not an SF soldier, okay? I left that regiment 5 years ago under the umbrella of medical discharge for PTSD. Now, I've done years sat in my house in the grey, in the dark, sat there with some false sense of morality and allegiance to a regiment which I was no longer a part of. Not thinking, but oh no, I could never have a social media profile. I'm not in the SRR anymore. Okay, I'm a civvy, and you could sit there, like I said, and you could have this false sense of morality, that you shouldn't be out in public and you shouldn't be saying X, Y, and Z. You shouldn't be saying this at all if you was a true SF soldier. Or what you could do is you could sit there and go, okay, I was on a program 20 years ago. I obviously had a little bit of an impact in that program because I've got a lot of people recognizing me as Recruit Williams. This isn't about the SRR soldier. This is about Recruit Williams. The SRR soldier is just the cherry on the cake afterwards, really.
It's the bit that people didn't know they were getting,
No,
and
no.
they got it. It's like, oh, that. It was me. That was a nice surprise because I actually wondered where you'd went when I first
Yeah.
seen you. I was like, oh, that's him. And then the SRR bit came as being in the Corps myself. It was like, well, fair one. That makes a lot of sense now. Why you weren't heard of? Arguably, if you didn't go down that route, you probably would have been on, dare I say it, TV again.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I could sit with some false sense of morality, some false sense of allegiance, and not progress in life, okay? But let's be real. Look at the environment today. Social media is everywhere, and I was actually talking to someone the other day he's the owner of my gym, and he's a former Olympian. He was a 400-meter runner back in the 1990s or 1980s. He run for GB, and I said to him, it's so against the grain, it feels so weird. And he was like, it does for me as well. He said, however, what you have to understand is if you don't adapt with the world, you get left behind, and it's a massive handicap. It's a massive handicap.
Yeah.
So all I'm doing, I'm not rising. Okay, I am responding. I'm not rising to these trolls. I'm not rising to these comments. I'm simply adapting to a scenario, like I did when I was an SRR soldier, and I had to adapt to the environment around me to achieve a mission. That is all I'm doing now to kind of better my life, to try and dig myself out of this hole of mental health, which is a byproduct of the military. Like I said, I could sit in my house in the grey, in the miserable, wondering where I'm going, what I'm doing, dwelling in my own pity over PTSD, combat trauma, accumulative effects, blah, 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 whatever the psychiatrist wants to diagnose it with. Or I could sit here and go, right, what's the situation? What's the mission? Like a soldier does. What have I been presented with? What are my tools? What are my weapons? I'm Recruit Williams from Command on the Front Line. I was a strong candidate in that. I went off and I did combat tours of Afghanistan. I've been lucky enough to come back and tell a story. I then went off and I did selection for what is one of the most unknown regiments in the world. And without, crossing the line with them, I can still continue to tell my story and better my life, give a little bit of education, and try and integrate myself back into society from a distance. And if commenting on some of these, let's be real, let's go back to bootnicks, Ryan. Some of these bone statements, because they are bone.
Yeah.
Some of these some of these bone statements, if commenting on that is one of the medications that I have, one of the tools I have to achieve new objectives, new mission accomplishments, and also achieve feeling like I'm part of a society again, then listen,
So be it.
I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace it. Just like I embraced SRR selection, just like I embraced CTC, bottom field, whatever it is.
It's testament to like a lot of, I say a lot, there's not a lot of our guys on social media, on YouTube especially. There's just not. Literally a handful, to be honest with you. You're adapting to a situation. This is the cards you've been dealt with. You've been down. You were dealt with a certain stack of cards when you joined the Corps. You used them to clearly to the best of your ability. Hence the story, the 20 odd hours worth of podcast material we've got. Clearly, like you got, some would say decent cards, not the best cards. You got a decent set of cards, but you
Yeah,
played
yeah,
them. I would
yeah.
say probably better than most people did. Hence, you ended up doing really good things. But you hit onto something there. You did have to survive tours of Afghanistan to allow that to progress. You don't get on a junior command course if you don't make it back from that. So, that is an obvious factor. And then you went to SF. That definitely isn't a given. As is passing the court is not a given. So you've used the cards that you've got. And when you left and you got into Civvy Street, you were given a certain stack of cards. Arguably, at this point, you probably your first taste of not really getting favourable cards, and you've got to
Oh,
deal with them all the
yeah,
same.
right.
You
When I
know,
went into Civvy Street, I hadn't up until Civvy Street when I'm 5 years ago. I'm 38, 39. I've been medically discharged with PTSD. Up until that point, I don't really think I'd failed much, if anything at all, in my life. Now, all of a sudden, at the age
bang,
of
bang,
38,
bang.
39, I was beginning to fail stuff.
It's hard to deal with when you haven't, because it's a
man.
skill set being able to adapt and overcome to failure as well. It's not
Mate,
easy.
it was
you know?
hard. It
You know
was
the lads.
hard.
You know your lads in cell. You'll have met lads in train who were failing this, stumbling across that, couldn't get up the 6 foot wall, this, that, and the other, constantly getting hammered from the start, constantly getting through these things, but they were battle hardened to failure at that
Yeah,
point, and they were
mate,
just
prime example was George Sparks. George
exactly,
Sparks,
you know,
prime
and
example.
and you know. Although it's a good thing to pass everything, sometimes when you first do get failure in an elite part of something, it's really hard to take. Now, you're experiencing that as a civvy without the moral support of the military to be able to look. If you fall off the horse in the military, everyone wants you to get back on it. That's what I've found. When you're in a unit, you fall off. You ain't got time to think about failing. You gotta get your fizz back up or something because you're gonna get called out for it. You know, Civvy Street, you haven't really got that dynamic. It's like you're flat on your face. You don't know what you want to do. You've got to get up with it. But what you have done, especially the past year and a bit, I would say, is right. Let's reevaluate this.
Yeah,
Let's
mate,
reevaluate these cards because what's going on right now, one, I'm not used to. Two, it's not what I'm used to doing. I'm used to, smashing through this. I'm used to, right, let's make the best of a shit burger. This shit burger's getting the better of me and I'm still eating it. Instead of going, let's fucking park this, let's have a new outlook on things. And I actually have seen that transition on social media. Social media is not the end goal. Social media is a tool, and you now look at it as a tool. How can I get to this objective? Because now social media isn't just something that I'm on trying to figure out. You've got a relatively good understanding of social media now.
social media for me, an analogy is me putting an ACOG instead of an iron sight on a weapon now. That's it. I've got something to enhance
Vision.
enhance my end goal, which Ryan, it's this here, it's this podcast here, and like I said, I could have sat there in the shadows still as some sort of like misplaced former tier 1 soldier, or I can adapt. And believe me, guys, anyone watching this, when I'm on social media and I put out these reels where I respond to these comments, it is so uncomfortable.
Well, I remember.
It's so uncomfortable. It's so foreign. It's hard.
I mean, imagine some of the things I'm telling you now with socials about, mate, this is why we do this, or you need to look at it from this angle and respond this way. 6 months ago, that would have been that wouldn't have been possible. I don't think it wouldn't have been something that you've took to social media really well, considering.
But you know what? If I have, then that's the adaptability of firstly a Royal Marine, and I know we go on about the Marines a lot. That is the adaptability of more so, Ryan, an SRR soldier, not a tier 1 soldier, not an SF soldier. This is where I now, say say the qualities that are attributed to the SRR, which is the adaptability. Okay, the way that I am adapting to the social media world, reading the comments, looking at that and thinking that's going to generate a reaction. That's going to generate a reaction. That generates a reaction. That's going to bring people to my page. If they come to my page, you're going to click in a link in the bio. If they come to the link in the bio, they're going to watch this podcast. The adaptability. We go on about the qualities of the Royal Marines, because both of me and you, we're both Royal Marines at heart. But I'm telling you now, the adaptability side,
That's
for
the
me
SRR
is
thing coming through.
That's an SRR quality, and it's such a if you ever serve in the SRR, the operators around you, that is one of the standout attributes of these operators. It's their adaptability. It's something you're in awe of. You know, put them in any given scenario, any part of the world. Watch them adapt.
Change this dynamic, no problem. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Got to learn a language. All right, let's give that a go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
In my case, I'd have to grow hair probably, but.
Good. I'm looking. I'm just trying to think.
I've got some good follicles there. They're just a bit sparsely populated at the moment.
I was just thinking, where's the theatre of operations where you would pretty much slot in?
Yeah, I think I'd be somewhere in the Middle East, wouldn't it? I don't know. I don't know. But podcast, mate. Actually, let's get some stats out for you. The podcast on YouTube, which podcasts are notoriously hard to become successful. Yeah. Most never do. We've got 140,000 views. So the 140,000 times people have seen us on there.
140,000, yeah. Sweet.
Over 15,000 hours of watch time.
15,000 hours. What does that equates to? 10.
Let me figure
that,
this out.
That equates to nearly, well, about a year and 2/3.
Ooh, I don't know. What is 15? I don't know. I'm terrible at maths. 15k hours in days. This is
600 days.
Oh yeah, 625 days.
Sorry, that's the autistic side of me coming
How
out.
have you done that? How have you done that?
Listen, I'm just quite good with numbers. I mean, this is a comment. I think that the mother of my kids once turned around to me and said, "Are you sure you're not slightly Asperger's?"
Slight Asperger's is a brilliant superpower, though, I think.
Oh, honestly, it's she said to me, because the thing is, right, what you do, James, is if it's something you're into and something you want to do, you are on it. But if there's something you're not into, everything else is just disregarded. It's literally thrown to one side. It's that, you know that
that's
trait,
not like I've looked into it quite a lot. Weirdly, one of the traits is, and this isn't because you are it or that person is it. It's just a trait of Asperger's, for instance, is the appearance of being selfish.
Yeah,
but it's not that you are a selfish person.
You know what, that would be me through and through.
So I need to reword. I need to make sure this wording comes across. It's the appearance of selfishness, not being selfish. Yeah. Does that make sense? Because it's all interest based. I think I might need to get tested, to be fair, because I'm fucking selfish back.
It's like I said. What did I say? I said a year and 2/3. I think that works out around a year and 2/3. But that's just me seeing the number and just it's screaming at me a year and 2/3. It's not. I mean,
I look at 625. Think that's a lot of. I just think that's shitloads. That. That's like, that's a lot of days. That
I did this on my TikTok live sometimes. I mean, some people, but when there's calculations, they don't throw calculations at me. But if a topic has like some sort of calculation, I just come up with it straight away, and they're like, what the fuck? It's supposed to be some sort of fucking solid boot neck.
Yeah, it's some weird, wonderful people in the core. Like,
But do you know what? And it's some like, but again with the SRR, I mean, some of those guys in the SRR, I mean, the the stuff they're inventing, the methods that they are fabricating and thinking up, and oh
literally,
god,
not using the PAM, creating the PAM.
yeah, mate, they're creating tools, they're creating methods. I mean,
Yeah,
you
this
know,
is
there's paratroopers, mate. This will surprise you, but will strip computers apart and put it back together. I mean,
yeah. This is what I mean, that you meet these people, don't you, along your way, and
do you know what? It's a fascinating. It's the military, wouldn't you say, Ryan? Is one of those environments where it's rife with those type of people. Absolutely,
the
rife.
best and worst people, and I mean right at either end of the
Yeah, yeah,
parameter. The very
yeah.
best and the very worst people I've ever met have all been in the military, more good than bad actually, and even the ones that I didn't get on with very well. If I was to strip back my disliking of that person, were they still pretty hoofing? Yeah, like they were good. You know, personalities clash, but the person behind the lid, awesome people, man. And this is kind of like to bring it a little bit back to what the intention is behind the podcast. Make this clear to guys. We've got a few kind of add-ons to the podcast that we wanted to make clear through our content, and we wanted to make clear as we progress with the podcast. Not necessarily our main goals, though. So one of the little side things on here is the mental health aspect.
Yeah,
We talk about that.
That's a big one, Ryan. The mental
Yeah.
health aspects, you know.
So podcast, we can spin dates, we can get stories, we can get guests on. Okay, what's a little bit of a bigger picture than that? We can help people who might be going through problems with the mental health. We get people on who clearly probably suffer from mental health themselves. You've been very open and direct with your mental health struggles.
Well,
So that's,
Ryan, we've still got. I mean,
still got quite a bit.
I'm conscious as well. You know, the viewers are probably watching this and they're probably thinking, "Where's the episode on SRR selection? Where's the episode on SRR operations?" Listen, it's coming. It's coming. Don't worry, the story's going to continue. But then straight after that, you've got the episodes on the price you pay for living a certain type of career during a very kinetic time, which was Afghanistan, and then taking on the SRR UKSF role as well. There is a price to pay, and it can be an incredibly expensive and hefty price. And one of the byproducts of that is the mental health issues, which, you know, we'll explore all of this, Ryan. We will.
Yeah.
It'd be good. Yeah, fantastic to explore it.
So there's them types of things. There's the bigger picture of look, this is also, dare I say it, work for us. I mean, I know podcast isn't work, but it certainly has been for 5 years for me in some way, shape or form. How do we extend on what we want to do? What's our interests? Well, sport and fitness is every bootneck's interest. Supplementation and stuff like that is a big part of our daily regime anyway. We've been speaking, you know, from the start about, hey, you know, what about this? What about that? We've been building goal setting with regards to maybe even getting our own supplement range out, which is in the pipeline. We know we're pushing towards that right now. Why? Well, that ties in with the mental health and stuff anyways, you know, get people eating clean, training, all of that kind of stuff.
It's working, Brian, as well, because as well as the trolls, as well as the guys and girls, I think it's just mainly guys when I look at my analytics.
Yeah, like 96
saying,
or something. Yeah.
Say, as well as them saying, why are you rising to it? You don't need to justify it. I mean, I was only just reading a message to you from one of the people that follow me on my TikTok, Ryan, and that it's already being felt by the viewers who are saying, thank you for the podcast. Podcast is great. It's great to watch. It's great for guidance. It's great. It's great for myself because I've got my own goals and it's pushing me on, you know, because kind of spreading that word of, you know, you can do it in whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Showing people that, I mean, we're literally a viewable blueprint right now of, we've spoke about an idea. Do you want to make it happen? Yes. Two like-minded individuals, similar background, similar ethos and determination. Right. Watch what we can do with that.
Yeah.
And
please,
watch you know?
But please remember as well, watch what Brian. Social media is a young person's game. I'm 40. I'm 44 this year.
Yeah,
But
I'm not too far behind you, to be fair.
Watch what two
Crusty bootlegs.
crusty old bootlegs can do on social media.
On socials and beyond, like, you know, we've got some big plans, man, and I'm looking forward
Honestly.
to being able. Look, there's a reason we've never took a sponsorship, and there's a reason why we're probably not going to have to. Yeah, still offer them if you want, but it's
But
got to be good.
there's a reason why I haven't gone on another podcast because I was like,
yeah,
man, yeah, I'm going to have my own. Do you know what? It's the same. It's the same situation as that young lad, 20-year-old lad who sat in a bed and watched and read a book on a guy who became an army spy, and he read it, and he was like, I want to go and do that job. I'm going to be an army spy. How did this guy become an army spy? He joined the Royal Marines first, and then he became an army spy. Right, I'm going to close that book, and I'm going to go and do that.
Write your own chapters now. Yeah,
It's the same. I mean, I sometimes sit there and go, how could I have anything on social media? Like, if I want it, I can do it. I can do it.
Wait, it's done. That's ticked in the box, isn't it?
And do you know what, though? Hang on, I say that, Ryan. I say I want it. I do want it, but damn, it's hard. God, this is the hardest theatre I've ever worked in.
Yeah, I mean, look, but and if that's something else people can take away from it, like, I wanted to be a bootneck. I mean, I went back twice, mate, you know, both 7 years apart. I don't know many people who rejoin after nearly a decade and knowing it's going to be grim, and knowing I nearly got through the first time, and knowing I'm
do you
not
know
as
what,
fit.
Ryan? When you put it like that, I mean,
and knowing I can't leave as well, like all of that shit, man. So it's like, yeah, I know how to get through things, and you know, from failing, I understand that sometimes you got to tread through a bit of shit. Sometimes you just got to do that.
Do you know what? I've never thought of that. Right? You knew what CTC was like. Oh,
mate, I can't tell you the sleepless nights.
I would rather be under the shock of capture permanently than know what's coming. Know what's coming.
Yeah, it was. I mean, my friends noticed a difference in me when I got to the point in training, which is like later on in training, where I didn't generally know what was going to happen at this point because I'd never been to that part of training. I know it's training dits, apologies, but hey. But
there's no sweats here. There's no old sweats here. Yeah,
but I felt really comfortable at that point. Because everything else, I knew what was coming. I knew down to the thrashings. And this is something interesting, James. When I was older, I could see the game anywhere. But I also knew, I was like, this last time at this point, we got thrashed because of some bone reason. And I was just wondering, I tested this. I said, I wonder if we get thrashed at the same point for the same thing. And it happened every time. And that's when I realised this was written.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it was written. Even down to the little thrashings outside, you know?
Yeah. Mate, some of those flanks on exercise, you could sit there with the shiniest mess tin. You could sit there with the most immaculate, rust-free, dry weapon. It doesn't matter. The flank is penciled in as a character-building exercise today, and it's going to happen whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and I knew, I was like, I was telling the lads, we're going to get... Yeah, I swear. I was like, we're going to get flanked today. Why? Trust me, they're going to pull something up and we're going to get absolutely hammered.
Here's another one though, Ryan, mate. I'll tell you another one which is fantastic for the shock of capture and you do not want to know what's coming. The Tarzan Assault Course. Could you do the Tarzan Assault Course knowing what's coming? Like...
I'm just thinking, if someone told me, right, crack that now, in your own time, go on.
Ryan,
would I be scared?
Ryan, let me tell you a story, right? I mean, as I've said, I've started seeing my children again. I'm so happy, right? But
yeah, that's awesome.
I went to Ninja Warrior with them the other day. Like, it's Ninja Warrior is like a soft play area. It's the next stage up from like a baby soft play. It's like a soft assault course.
Yes, that's right.
And I remember on my socials, could you do the commando test? There I am. Yeah, I could do the commando test. Yeah, I could do the commando. Yeah, of course I could. I've got that mental state. I've got that bootneck mindset. 5 minutes running around Ninja Warrior with my boys. I remember
Tangling.
leaning up against some netting somewhere, barely being able to keep my legs like from buckling under me. And the thought that came into my head was,
How the fuck did I get?
Tarzan assault course now, mate, no hope.
I think right here's something, right. I'm gonna voluntold us. I want to put this out into the cosmos. As much as I would hate to do this, that would be a good TV. Oh, I don't want
Oh, Joe, it'd be fantastic.
get me, you, and a couple of others down. Put us in a troop, but put us in like a what we can call it, like a veteran troop or a I don't know, a sweat troop, where see if you can get through it again.
Yeah, obviously you got to have you have to have a little bit of extension on the time.
And allowance for allowance for medical reasons.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's. I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to get through it, but I would give it a go.
mate. Do you know what? Again, I sit here, maybe with some false sense of myself. I'm still saying to myself I could get through it, despite how I was feeling at Ninja Warrior the other day.
I'm just thinking, like, right,
It's like
we just came down from the third rope climb in the gym, and you know that when you're holding onto the rope and you're blowing out, but you can't show it, and then they say, right, lads, outside and 3 ranks go, and you've got to do a camp cert, and you're thinking, yeah, I'll be up for it. I think it'd be a good laugh.
You say the rope climbing. I mean, I've started putting out the reels on my TikTok where I'm climbing ropes. I can still arms only to the top.
Trolls love that, don't they? The
Oh, they
trolls
love
are
that. Yeah,
absolutely loving that.
yeah, yeah. I got more of those. I got more of those.
So, trolls commenting, responding to these guys.
Yeah.
For those that might be, I don't want to say naive to, well, yeah, naive to your reasons, to our reasons behind everything that we're doing. Really, is don't be surprised if someone like yourself, an SF guy, bootneck, quite articulate, quite smart. If he's biting, maybe it's got a bigger reason than just biting. You know,
Yeah.
same as my comments. There's always been method in the madness. I mean, more comments means more engagement, more views. It's a good
Ryan,
thing.
I mean, that the latest one I've put out where what was it? I explained why SRR were a tier 1 unit, because the comment was SRR
That's
not
right.
a tier 1 unit. Ryan, it's been about 4 or 5 days, and they are still they're not targeting me. They're targeting each other now. They're targeting each other.
They've switched fire.
They are having it out with each other in the comments. Like every time I go into my TikTok, there's this one group of people. I mean, I tell you what, let's mention some of their names, because I know they'll love a mention. I'm genuinely not saying. I've got Grey Wolf. Grey Wolf. Grey Wolf is really standing his ground. Grey Wolf is dug in. He's dug in, right? Dunk is throwing a few grenades. I mean,
I got thousands of comments now about who is and who isn't tier 1.
yeah. Honestly, I mean, Grey Wolf keeps coming up. Grey Wolf is really he's literally dug it. He's got a dug in position here. I mean, he's dug in.
Let's have one of the. Let's give one or two comments. What we got?
Oh, right. So let's have a look. I mean, fantastic. So Dunk was the actual one who started this. The UK has no tier 1, tier 2, as it's a US thing. Doesn't apply to the UK at all. SRR and SBS are all SF. Everyone knows this. Rangers, SFSG, Op Samson are not SF. Then you got RG, and then they're not in order, but there's like 30 replies there of this group of about, I'd say, half a dozen people who are just like
Smashing each other.
They're smashing each other. They're not in order. It's such a shame that there's actually no. TikTok doesn't do this, does it? They're not in like a logical order, so you can read through it as a
Well, that's
conversation.
the thing, because most of the comments are not actually logical, either. It's just like there's no logic to this thing.
So, mate, there's no point. He's got no clue. Honestly, just nod and smile, buddy. All right, what's your first four and your year of service? I take it that is. Same question to you. What's your first four in your year?
Yeah,
Right.
because your first four is going to be. Also, they're trying to hang on. They're trying to sprog each other off.
Oh, mate. And do you know
So
what?
depending on what your first four is, they can
But,
say I was in before you.
but listen, from my perspective, there, taking your advice, yeah. I, when I put that reaction out, and listen, I'm not biting. I'm not biting. It looks like I'm biting, but I'm not biting.
It's a tactical
When
bite.
when I put that reaction out, and it was let's guys, I sit there over the post button for ages, like this is so against the grain. God, I feel so this is hard. This is tough, and it takes me about an hour to post after I've made it because I'm deliberating in my head
Do I do it or not?
yeah. I'm scared like. This for me is what someone should be like at the top of Fogging Tor, walking down a cliff face first. I do that straight away. That's easy. This here, I'm sat here. What I need to think about this. I need to think about posting this. But what I've done is, I'm looking at it. And I'm thinking. I said to you, Ryan, this response to this comment here about the SRR being tier 1. This is gonna ruffle some feathers because they are gonna go. They are gonna be like. No, they're not. Yes, they are. No, this is. No, that is. No, they're not. No, you don't know what you're talking about. And then Ryan, as you know, that generates views. That generates engagement. That then goes to my profile. That then goes to the Beyond the Frontline podcast. Hopefully,
Yeah.
and
It
then
goes.
facilitate. Yeah.
It goes to everything, and then facilitating our ideas. It's magic.
Or the other alternative is I could sit there, like I said, some misplaced former tier 1 soldier, still dwelling in his own self-pity of his own PTSD, wondering why his life's shit now and he can't move forward and he can't engage with society at all. I could be that one there. I could be.
So for anyone wondering about their own life and circumstance, what's the key takeaway with that then specifically? Would you say about being in a fucking gash place? And I mean,
you know what?
really, we're actually really talking about. I know this is a phrase that many people won't like to hear when they're going through it. Self-help is a big one on this.
Do you know what? The actual thing that comes to my mind is something that I saw Chris Eubanks say. I don't know if you've seen the reel what Chris Eubanks says, where he says it's something like if you stand up or if you speak out, you risk being ridiculed. But
Yes.
but to take no risk at all is probably the greatest
Yeah, I've seen
tragedy you could. Yeah, I don't exactly know what he says, but that's the message. Okay, I know as soon as I send this out, people are gonna be saying. You shouldn't be saying that. You're a former tier 1 soldier. Why are you rising to it? What the best one is when they just go Walt.
from someone who's like a chef or I mean, there's nothing wrong with any part of the military.
No.
But there's levels to it for sure. Only humble people. There's plenty of humble people in the military, but most guys who use that term have never actually served. I've found.
It's the same thing, Ryan, as, how did you feel when you was going to go, that day you jumped on a train and you was going to the platform at Linston? You grabbed your balls in your hand and you said, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to be counted. This is going to be uncomfortable. This is going to be tough. This is going to be hard for me, but I'm going to go and do it. And look where you end up.
You've met me in person. I've been about a bit, in life, and I don't like to use the phrase, I'm not scared of people. Look, that doesn't mean anything anyway. 36-year-old, I'm not really too fazed with much, At 16, left school. 2 weeks prior, I was literally with my friends. They were still on the 6 weeks holidays, and I was on a train going to Livingston. I was scared to death, mate. It took so much courage. The second time was easy. It was easy. I was just thinking, my wife's in London. This is a quicker journey there on a weekend now. Happy days. I wasn't couldn't give a nick at 24. You don't worry about shit like that. But at 16, mate, I was scared to death. Took me a lot of balls to go down there, and because I think looking at someone like yourself, clearly talented in the military. That's what I would say. Talent, hard work, the package was there. I wasn't talented at that stuff. I really did have to work to learn how to use a weapon properly, learn how to do kit musters properly, learn how to sort my shit out, admin, everything. Tactics, soldiering, all that shit came really hard. It came really hard to me, So it
Yeah.
was like a constant fragging, I found. And I kind of use that now as like, well, I've been fragged on socials, mate. When I first started, the trolls were bootnicks, believe it or not, which is weird, isn't it? Your own.
I've had it. I've had it. I mean, you commented. No, I'm not going to call him a troll because I don't think he's a troll. He's just got an opinion. The Sea Lord.
Yes, he's just got an opinion. I would agree. He's just got an opinion. Yeah.
What? Can you remember the line of what he said?
Sea Lord. I actually misread. Jen, I misread it. I thought it was something else. Is it
Sea
on
hat.
TikTok?
Yeah, sea hat.
Well, I thought it was good. I actually thought it was no, it wasn't even that. It was a term that we would have used at school. It doesn't get used now. Gearlord. Where was it? Sea Lord.
Sea Lord. You responded to it because he was kind of having a little bit of criticism as to why I would be going down the road that I was going, and
Yeah, that was it. What was it? Where? Let me find.
right down the bottom, I think, mate. Right down the bottom.
Right, this is a sea. Where's the sea hat say? What did he say? Sea Lord, I'm trying not to sound funny here, but you do all of that so you could split hairs with knobhead civvies on TikTok. Tier this, tier that. Who cares? It should be inside of you and not having to prove yourself on it. So it was actually.
That is the encompassing of everything we're talking about here. That is
Yeah.
encompassing the whole lot. Like, done
It was-
everything I've done, and I'm splitting hairs with. I mean, I don't use derogatory terms like that. I try not to, but whatever. I'm splitting hairs with a certain type of person on TikTok. Who cares? And what was the rest of it?
Splitting hairs with knobhead civvies on TikTok. Tier this, tier that. Who cares? It should be inside of you and not having to prove yourself on here. So it wasn't.
Well,
it wasn't
hey.
even a negative. It was trying.
No,
I think it was
yeah.
more trying to
was an
boost you
opinion.
up. Yeah.
It was an opinion, yeah. Well, listen, I've explained the logic behind it. Like I said, two options: sit in the shadows, fester in my own self-pity, or sit here and think, how do I adapt to this new environment, which I have to adapt to, or I'm going to get left behind. And if I get left behind, well, it's like in the military. If you get left behind, game over. Game over.
Phil, it's RTU, isn't it? Or get sent home. Yeah, you said adapting and adjusting to the environment. And
Yep.
I said maybe he's not proven himself at all. Maybe he's 10 steps ahead with a vision. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a strange one, social media, but I wonder what it's going to look like in 5 years' time. But you got to be
Tell
in
you
it
what,
to
though,
win it.
Ryan, I am actually having, although it is a really foreign territory to me, it is the hardest theatre I've ever operated in. It is completely against the grain. I am having that kind of fun that I had on the mud run. I'm having that kind of fun that I had on bottom field.
Because it's struck like, do you not think there's something to be said in that though? Like things that are arduous, things that are tough,
Yeah.
do present the best rewards, don't they? I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, there's those old sayings, isn't it? No one ever progressed being comfortable.
Yeah, and that's
Simple as
this is kind of how it is. I think I see a lot of people trying to make it on YouTube and quitting and stuff as well, man, and not being able to hack it. So it's just one of those. We're going to keep on cracking on. Big things,
Yep.
very big things in the very distant, very near future as well.
Yeah, we will get back to the Recruit Williams story. We are
Very soon.
going to get back to that. Yep.
Very soon.
Yep. Very soon we will get back to that one. I know the viewers are wanting to see what happens after. I think we left it at the junior command course and doing the maybe beginning to broach onto the SRR briefing
Selection,
course.
yeah.
Selection 2000 and end of 2009 going into 2010.
So yeah, watch this space.
All good.